Hello class. Today what we're going to do is we're going to cover section 10.5 in this video and section 10.6 in the next video. They're both about factoring quadratics. Factoring a quadratic is a technique also used for solving a quadratic, but it's used to kind of do the opposite of FOIL, where you have two, like when you're foiling, remember you're taking two binomial factors and multiplying them using the FOIL pattern to multiply them to get your quadratic trinomial. Here you're kind of doing the doing this in reverse. You are being given the quadratic trinomial and you're being asked to break it up into its two binomial factors. And there's two patterns that we're going to be looking at. This video, the pattern is x squared, I wasn't able to type that here, but that's really x squared plus bx plus c. With the emphasis being on this, that there is the leading coefficient is 1, okay? Because this is the simplest type of quadratic there is to factor. When your leading coefficient is 1, in other words, it's just x squared, that technique for factoring is easier than if you have a number of some sort here that's not 1. All right, so first, what we're going to do, the way that you do this is that you start by looking at the last number, the constant, and you're going to, and you look at the sign that's on here, okay, and you're going to come up with the factors that if multiplied together would multiply to that constant, and then you want it to combine to when you add those factors, you want it to combine into b. All right, so anyway, lots of words. And I think it's easier to sort of demonstrate if we start just kind of going through this. All right, so let's look at example 1. All right, so you are factoring x squared plus 6x plus 8. Okay, and so you want to have this in some sort of factor that's going to be x plus some number or minus, and then x plus or minus some number. You know, that will get you this. So the first thing you're going to look at is this last number, the constant, right? And this is positive. That's positive 8, right? All right, so I want you to think of all of the factors that multiply into positive 8. Now, for this to be positive, both numbers multiplied could both be positives or both be negatives, right? Because a negative times a negative is also positive. But the clincher is that when you combine the numbers, they got to combine into positive 6. So that's telling you that both of the numbers have to be positive. Otherwise, if this were a negative 6, then they would both be negative as an example. So what are the factors of 8? Well, we got 1 and 8. Okay, positive 1, positive 8. What does that combine into? 9. That's not going to do it, right? What's the next set of factors of 8? Well, 2 and 4. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, and these combine, 2 and 4 combine into 6, which is what I have as my middle term. Well, this is the factoring pattern now. You're going to end up with x plus 2 times x plus 4. All right, the last thing you want to do is you kind of want to check whether or not you've factored it correctly by foiling. So you do x times x, there's your x squared, x times 4, that's 4x, 2 times x, that's 2x, that combines into 6x, and then your last term, 2 times 4, well, that combines into 8. All right, so that's what we're aiming for. So we're looking at the factors of the last term that basically combine into the middle term. Okay, all right, now let's do this. I want you to attempt the checkpoint right now, and press pause, and then come back and press play again, and I will go over the checkpoint. All right, so if you are here, we are going over the checkpoint. So I'm hoping that you did 1 through 4 of the checkpoint. All right, so number 1, okay, we are factoring. That means we're breaking up the quadratic trinomial into two binomial factors. This quadratic. Okay, so we're looking at the last term here, the 3. It's positive, right? and it's going to combine into 4. Well, 3 is a prime number. I only have 1 and 3 are my factors, right? So, and that, when I combine those, right, that combines into 4. So this is going to factor into x plus 1 times x plus 3. And if I refoil this, I will get my original quadratic trinomial back. All right, here's 2, which is x squared plus 5x plus 6. All right, so I'm looking for factors of 6 that combine into 5. Okay, well, factors of 6, I got 1 and 6. And of course, this is positive and the 5x is positive, so all my factors are going to be positive. Okay, 1 and 6, that combines into 7. That's not going to do it. Then 2 times 3, there you go. That combines into 5. So that's my pattern. So I'm going to have x plus 2 times x plus 3. And if I refoil this, I will get back up to here. X times x, there's my x squared. X times 3, that's 3x. 2 times x, that's 2x. That's my 5x. And then lastly, 2 times 3 is 6. All right, let's look at number 3. X squared plus 8x plus 7. All right, I'm looking at my last term here. And I'm looking for factors of 7. Again, I got a prime number, positive 7, that are going to combine into 8. So again, it's going to be 1 and 7, right? So that's how this is going to factor. It's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 7. And of course, it doesn't matter what order I write these factors in, because remember, multiplication is commutative. The order doesn't matter. The order of the binomial factors doesn't matter. If I FOIL it, I will get that. No matter which order I FOIL it in, it will get back to the original quadratic trinomial if you factored it correctly. So x times x, there's my x squared. X times 7, 7x. 1 times x, there's my 1x. That combines into 8x. And then 1 times 7 combines into 7. All right, now let's look at number 4 of the checkpoint. That's x squared plus 7x plus 6. Okay, so I'm looking at my last term, and I'm looking at factors of 6 that combine into 7. Again, I got 1 and 6 and 2 and 3, right? 2 and 3 is not going to work because that combines into 5. It's got to be 1 and 6. So this is going to factor into x plus 1 times x plus 6. So I'm hoping you guys are getting the knack of this now. Once you do enough of these, then it starts to make sense. All right, so let's do this. Let me clear this, and we're going to start with the next example. All right, we're on example 2. So now they're going to make it just a little bit more complicated because they're going to give you different little signs and stuff. So here, okay, example. Now my pen's going wonky on me. Okay. All right, here we go. Example 2. All right, now we're factoring x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, so like I was saying, things can be a little bit more complicated because of the signs. So, but the process is still the same. You're still looking at the factors of the last term that combine into the middle term. All right, now you know that you can get a positive 6 by multiplying 2 positive numbers as well as 2 negative numbers, right? 2 negative factors. Since this middle term is negative, that's kind of your tip-off that you're going to have 2 negative factors, all right? So you're looking for factors of positive 6 still, but they got to combine into negative 5. And so you know you're going to have 2 negatives. And again, you can go 1 and 6, right? Well, that's a negative 7. That's not going to do it. And then you got negative 2 and negative 3 that will multiply into positive 6, but combine into negative 5. So these are going to be the factors that you're going to use. So this quadratic trinomial is going to factor into x minus 2 times x minus 3. If you refoil this, right, you're going to get x times x. There's my x squared. You're going to x times minus 3, that's my minus 3x, minus 2 times x, that's my minus 2x, and both of those combine into minus 5x. And then lastly, negative 2 times negative 3, there's my positive 6 here. All right. Oh, okay. So how about this? I am going to come back to you in the next video with the checkpoint for 5 through 8. So how about you attempt those then, and then and join me in the next video after this.